Good afternoon everyone, I hope everybody's okay. I've not been videoing the last couple of weeks with so much going on in the house. I want to show you these gorgeous templates by Emma Parrish. They're absolutely gorgeous, and also I'll be doing a bit of my piece of God study at the same time. So Emma has these wonderful templates, and I just love them. I've done all of them, but I've not put them all together completely. You know, I've just put a couple together, and each one is so self-explanatory. And if you don't know how to put them together, here we go, she's done this for us. So it's so easy to see how you should put them together. Absolute dream, really is wonderful. And there are 10 tags altogether that you get in the pack. Let me just stick that back underneath there again. So all you do is you print them off, put them back in your machine, and print whatever you are going to use as your paper on the top of them. Very quick, very easy, and they do cut out on a Cricut because we've been told so. Emma's had not tried it, but we know somebody else who have, and they are so lovely, quick, easy, and great fun to play with. They really are. Now this particular one is actually free in the group at the moment. Is that one? No, it's not. It's not. It's one back here. Sorry, let's go back to the right one. It's this one. It's the one that got mucky. This is the template that is free in the group at the moment. And there is also a competition going on. We've only got a couple more days of the competition left. And the competition is you take this template and you make something with it. We have had amazing, I think there's nearly 40 have taken part so far. We've had paper doll wardrobes, we've had butterflies, we've had steampunk. Incredible things that the girls have done with these. Absolutely amazing. This is your main piece. You cut this out, and of course these fold in. And then this piece, you cut this all out. This folds in that way, and you seal it down, and that goes in there afterwards. Really quick, really easy. Lots and lots of inspiration in the Magical Paper Pantry. Anyway, I won't go through every single one of them because that's daft. Because there's 10 of them. Right, so I'm going to show you the ones I've already been playing with. Okay. Now, this one, I just love this one. I think it's so easy when you actually think about what you're going to do. So you have your backing template. Let's just pull these out so you can see where you are. So you've got this bit here, which is the back. These are Emma's butterflies, and they're just stickers that I've made. So you print this off, and you print this tag off here, and you cut the hole out. Okay, and then basically glue one on top of the other and leave a gap here. Okay, now what I've done with mine is I've put a lovely verse here from the study, and another butter up there in one of the stickers that I've made, and that goes in here. Now what you can do is you can stick this to your page and then slot it in here, which I thought would be a really good idea. If that's stuck on the page, you can then slide that in there, and then this one will go in here. Now, I've used one of the Bible verses from week 2 of our Bible studies, and it says, "Come near to God, and he will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded." Well, this is from the Bible. This is James 4:8. As a Muslim, we wash our hands before we do most things, and we definitely wash our hands before we pray. We wash our hands first, and then we do something which is called wudu. And you wash your hands first, then you wash your face and your nose and round your ears. You rub over your hair, you rub your arms. You know, imagine a coal miner, and he's going to be doing this, okay? You can understand it, can't you? You know, you're getting all the dirt off, but you're also symbolically getting rid of all the sin. okay, that you've come in contact with since your last time you prayed. And you wash your feet. And we do that every time we pray. We pray 5 times a day, and there is also a night prayer, but it's not obligatory. It's up to you whether you do the night prayer or not. So that actually was really significant to me about washing your hands. It's about, when you go to church, you always wanted to have your Sunday best on, didn't you? And of course, if you still go, you want your Sunday best on. You want to have had a bath. You want to have, you want to be clean. It's, when you go back to like the 50s and the 60s, you remember the women when they used to go to church, it was a special day for them to get their Sunday best on. And, often they would have a beautiful hat to wear. This is what it's about, is being clean before God. And when you pray as much as we do, you are in a set mind where not only are you trusting in God all the time, but you rely on him, and you're not thinking about doing bad things. Basically, there is no time because if you think there's like the most there'll be between prayers is about 5 hours, there's not much time in the middle for going and planning on doing something that you shouldn't be doing, which is actually the whole reason why we pray so much. It is to stop us from doing bad things. Anyway, I think this is just absolutely lovely, this tag. So let me show you the other ones. This is another template, and I've put this together in 2 totally different ways. This one, I've done it the way Emma intended, and that was to use, she's got the circles there, you cut out and you use them to do one of these little closures. Get hold of that. There we go. And obviously you just use a brad to hold it on. And I always, the paper that's underneath, I just I just cut from a little bit of scrap paper, a little circle out to cover the back of the brad. That way you're not, catching yourself on it. Now these little pockets and these little tags, you can put them on the front, you can put them up the back. It depends on the style that you are doing. I like them inside. And there's 3 altogether, so that one's put in there too. And then you get a really lovely tag here, which is a great size for doing journaling on, because you can journal on the back. And then on the front, there's room to decorate it, isn't there? This is the thing. You'd like to have a tag that you can actually play with, put your sentiments on, put your little labels on. And this is ideal, absolutely wonderful. Now the other one, I thought, let me think about doing a corset closure. And it's worked out really, really well. It looks good and it worked out brilliantly. So I'm tickled pink with this. So this is the corset closure. Now I'm not going to undo it all, but you can see the corset closure quite well there. And again, of course, you've got exactly the same ephemera inside. I've not decorated these yet. But that's just 2 ideas from one template. Down to you how you use them. Then we've got this one. I like the shape of this. I really, really like the shape of this one. Almost like a file folder shape at the top, the tab. And then you get 2 more tags that are inside. I've put a butterfly on this one already. And then here you've got another little tag right inside that pocket there. And I think these are fab for inside a journal. I really do. I'm sure that's one of Tracie's. I will link, anyway, below I will link all the Etsy stores, Ko-fi stores, where all the stuff that I'm using will be, so that it's easy for you to find them and you'll know which one. And I will make a mark so you'll know where that butterfly came from. So let's pop them in there. I mean, that one looks more like a moth, doesn't it? It's not a butterfly. Right, then this one is the one which is number 1, which has got that strange bottom on it. So these are folded over and it bends up, and then you glue your tabs either side, and that's how you get that with your little pocket, because you have a little pocket in there at the front. And then you've got 3 lovely tags that go inside it. So then those 2 go in there, and then a diddy one goes in there. So that's another pretty little one. And this is the other one that I'm going to show you, and I'm actually going to try and do this today because I've not actually done much on this now. So this one, you've got this shape, you get the belly band and a circle which fits perfectly on there, and then all these wonderful journaling cards will go inside. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be working on now. Now, the ones that I've chosen on here are talking about going to paradise, going to heaven, whatever you want to call the life when we die, whether we call it Jannah. So it just depends on what your word is, and that's what these are. And I think if we think about what happens later on, it encourages us to do good works, to do things that help other people. And I love that idea. But the whole reason why I chose this one was it says, or do you think that you will enter paradise while such trial has not yet come to you as came to those who passed before you? And that automatically reminded me of Moses and the trials that the Israelites had to go through. You know, and Moses, keep going back to Pharaoh to try and get the Israelites released, because when they arrived, they weren't prisoners, they weren't slaves, they were just normal people when they arrived. But of course there was a huge famine in the land, and they went there so that they had a means of living. You know, it wasn't that they particularly wanted to go there, it was just a fact that that was the only place they could go, that the country welcomed them. And then of course later on they were working. There is a documentary out that was out many years ago, and they found where the Giza Plateau is, where the pyramids are, bread houses and cook houses and all things like this. So the people who actually built the pyramids weren't actually impoverished. They were well looked after. But it's how your belief is. You know, I'm watching that new series actually on Moses, and it's written and it's by theologians, and those who've been following this Piece of God collaboration will know that Esther, our Esther, she is actually a theologian. She went to, she actually studied it. And it's interesting because it's got quite a heavy Torah Jewish overtone to it. But the general story that you get from the Quran, from the Bible, from the Torah are the same. You know, the basic story is the same. But the bit that fascinated me was they were talking about when Moses was found. Obviously, he's in this basket, and he's been put in there by his mother because obviously his life's at risk. Well, they had this Jewish word, and I'm not going to try and pronounce it, but it means ark. And what they were saying was, it's exactly the same word that they used for the ark when Noah built his ark as when Moses was put into this basket. So they were saying that he was put into an ark. If you look at the Bible and you find the measurements of the ark, it actually worked out that it was a square box. Okay? It wasn't built like, you imagine Noah's Ark, how we were played with toys of Noah's Ark when we were kids. It was actually a box. So you can understand that sort of shape, basket shape, and the same with Noah, that sort of shape would actually protect you. But it's the bit about when he was found. Now, they were saying she was a princess and she was the daughter of the Pharaoh, but we've been taught that she was the wife of the Pharaoh. So it's a little bit confusing there, but I will re-listen to it in case I messed up, because that's quite possible in my head. But they talk about when she reached out for this basket, or as they call it, an ark, and she's reaching out, her arm doubled in size, in length, to reach this basket. And they also were saying that she was the daughter of God. So it shows you how much different the Old Testament and the Torah have changed over the years, because obviously they were written by the same people. They should be the same, but they're not. And I'd never heard this before. So it'd be interesting if anybody else has ever heard this before, because I've never heard about this arm extension, you know, and her being called the daughter of God. Because to me, the only person that has ever been in the Christian faith known as a child of God was Jesus. So that kind of baffled me a bit. But I will watch that little bit again just to make sure I didn't mess up. But I'd love you guys to watch it just for the information, to see how you feel about it. Now, there is a Muslim in there. Well, at least I'm a bit confused, because they call her a chaplain, and we don't have chaplains in the Muslim religion. So it's a bit strange. But the thing that she mentioned, because I've not watched it all, I've only watched like 2.5 of the, episodes. She talks about Moses, when Moses needs to go to Pharaoh to ask for his people to be let free. And when he's going, he asks that his brother can go with him, because he wants the knot from his tongue to release. He can't, if he goes to God when he's got this knot in his tongue, he will find it very, very difficult. So they only mention that bit because that is what's mentioned in the Quran. It's not mentioned anywhere else. To us as Muslims, the knot in the tongue means he has a stammer. He finds it difficult to speak. It's strange with stammer, because we actually had a little boy next door when we were living in Manchester who had a stammer. And the strange thing was that my Ashley was actually about 3 or 4 at the time. Matthew was just a little bit older. And he actually started speaking exactly the same as the child next door. Obviously, I knew he didn't have a stammer. There was nothing wrong with him. And, he soon changed when he was in school. It was fine. I need to put this a different way so it actually fits on, because it's not fitting on, is it? I think I need to cut the is off. Cut the is bit off. But yeah, if you've got a stammer, you're very, very conscious of yourself, aren't you? You would be very conscious of how you're speaking. And the last thing you want to do is to go to Pharaoh after you've severely annoyed him and severely upset him, and, you've been accused of killing somebody. You really wouldn't want to go, would you? But that's the only thing I've seen that she's actually spoken on at the moment. There is a Baptist in there that I saw. There was a Baptist. But mainly it's rabbis that are talking. So do give it a go, because I really think it will make you think. It will make you think about what was happening, how they had to have, although they were very, very disobedient, they had to have faith in Moses to actually go across the Red Sea. Can you imagine? You're stood there and the Red Sea is opened and you've got these 2 walls of water either side, and you're expected just to walk through that. That had to take some faith to go through there. I should imagine most of them were petrified at the thought of going through there in case it closed. So they must have had some faith in Moses. They must have had a lot of respect for him. And obviously, we know the story and how they did it. But this is what all this Bible study is about, is having trust. If you can find trust in God, you will start to do the leaning on him. You will share everything that you have got in your heart, the things that are really worrying you. And you know what they say about sharing problems. If you share them, a problem shared is a problem halved. And it really does help. Even if the advice you get is a bit wacky sometimes, because some people look at your problem in a completely different way from how you look at it. Actually talking about it makes such a difference. And once you learn to rely on God, I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about expecting him to do everything for you. You know, as far as I'm concerned, God helps those who help themselves. If you work towards something as well, he will help you get there easier. So we're trying to find this peace. And when you believe and trust in God, that peace, it is unbelievable. How many times have you seen somebody who really believes in God? They have a shine on their face. We call it nur in Arabic. And it shines from their faces. You see this peace over them. They have a completely different stance from other people. You can really see when they have their faith in God. Now, I'm just sat here and I'm just looking at the verse I've got here, and it says, "Indeed, I am near. I respond to invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me." Now, that is the most important thing. God responds to you. If you supplicate to him, you pray to him, you ask for his help, he will respond. But it's the way you ask, okay? It's the way you ask him to help you. Best way to do it, and more likely way that you will get a response, is if you thank him for the bounty that he has given you first. Think of his creation, the magnificence of his creation. I mean, my days. We've all been looking at the Aurora Borealis, haven't we? The Northern Lights recently. Many of us have seen them. As far as Australia have seen them, North America, all in the UK, and that in itself, you look at something like that, it is unbelievable. So think about that. Even if you thank him just for his creation and then ask, it will be given to you. It may not happen straight away because God works in a different way round that we do. How he plans things is completely different from how our brain works. You may think that by going to A, B and C is the correct way of doing it, but he might decide to go to G first, then back to C, and maybe off on a tangent somewhere else, and then it happens. But he answers your prayers. One of the girls doing this was talking about how what an awful situation she had in her life, that her husband was trying to get a daughter from her, basically, and saying that she was abusing her daughter, which she wasn't. It was the other way around, which happens, we know. And she talks about the miracle that happened in her life, and it is absolutely unbelievable. Now, she's part of our team, she's part of this creative team, and she's doing the Peace of God. And I will link it below in the top part of my description, so you can find it. You have to listen to it, and it will really touch your heart. So that's Emma's first part of her tags. So we've got lots and lots to finish decorating there. I have actually got all the rest here that I've actually cut out ready to make more things, but I'm not going to do these today. But they are really simple to cut out. They are beautiful to work with, and I would highly recommend getting them for your journaling because they are great fun. They really are. Now I'm just going to go into my journal now. So pulling everything apart. Let's move the ink because I really don't want that daubing on anything. There we go. So let's just hopefully not knock the camera. I have been in a destash group, okay, and I've brought some lace and doilies and things, you know, the normal things that you get. And the lass who actually started the destash group was basically getting rid of her stuff so that she could get stuff for the new hobby that she's got. She didn't want to do what she was doing anymore. And I brought a lot of old, like receipts, things like that. And this was inside. And I looked at the front and I thought, what the hell's that? And it says 8 pages of handwritten religious notes, probably 1800s. And the first thing you see here is 1 Corinthians 15, 1 to 2. And I was like, wow. Now, I can only read certain words because obviously this is very, very old. And, you know, you'll get certain bits like, this was the great objectivity. And then you suddenly go, no, I can't read the rest. But this is just absolutely incredible, isn't it? Where she's gone through, well, actually it's not, it's a he. I'll explain that in a minute. And it is wonderful how they have studied the Bible. And this is Corinthians that they've done. And I thought, I've got to show it to you. I will actually sit down at some stage and try and actually read it properly. It will take some time to actually go through it. But this is just absolutely incredible, isn't it? And that is what we're doing at the moment. We're trying to sit down and write. And you make notes about what you've learned. So you take a scripture and what it means to you. Don't worry about what everybody else's interpretation is. It's your interpretation. How it comes to you, how it gives you hope, how it means to you. We all look at different verses. I said it a while back about the legs being knotted, you know, on the day of resurrection, you know, on the day of Armageddon, resurrection, whatever you want to call it. When that final horn is blown, people will be stood there. Some will be absolutely ecstatic and happy, and they will get their books in their right hand. Others, well, they are going to be in a sorry state. And it's those that are going to be so nervous. And in the Quran, it talks about the legs, one about the other, you know, twisted. And it basically, I'd read this so many times before, and it suddenly clicked on me. What is a stance that a child makes when they need to go to the bathroom? Oh, gosh, yeah. And that is it. When you are afraid, you automatically want to go to the bathroom, don't you? It's that if you're going to go to the dentist and you don't like the dentist. Before you go to the dentist, guarantee you'll be going to that bathroom. And it's things like that. You may not see it the first time you read it. You may not see it the 30th time you read it. But you will have that bit revealed to you at the time that is meant to mean something to you. Anyway, on here, it's talking about brethren on here. And it's talking about farewell and things like that. And I have a feeling this was definitely written by the way he's talking about my fellow brethren, that it must be a man. So I will actually go into this, and I thought I have to share it because it was just, you know, it's one of those when you see something and you're like, no, it can't be. So I'm keeping that in here in my faith journal, and I'm just going to show you where I've got up to so far. I think most of this you've already seen. And I have been putting my notes in on here, keeping it, you know, and how I've been looking at it. This is about Yusuf, which I will do. I'll carry on Yusuf's story later on. That's Joseph. And I've just been making notes all over this. This is Palestine, which was Canaan, which was Canaan at that time. I'm sure I actually showed you the map of Canaan. Maybe I did or maybe I didn't. But this is Bethlehem here. And I've been to Bethlehem several times. I love Bethlehem. And this is Hebron, or Hebron. And where my husband's family lives is a Rube camp, which is right in the middle of Bethlehem and Hebron. Right in the middle there. And obviously this is Gaza over here. And this is Jordan down here. And there's Nazareth. I'm hoping you can see that. There's Nazareth right at the top there. There's Nazareth. And these places, obviously, you would have heard of before. And Jericho. I think most of us know about Jericho. In fact, the dates from Jericho are the best I've ever tasted straight off the tree. Oh, my days. Absolutely incredible. So, I've got that in there. And then I've put these in. So here, these pictures, these are travellers at the Wells of Moses on the eastern side of the Gulf of Suez. And here we've got the Rock of Moses, and that is in the Legia Valley in the Sinai. So I've found some lovely copyright-free pictures on there. You've seen these before. And this here is Dream Connections, which I'll talk about later, about the 3 dreams between Abraham, Joseph and Muhammad, the dreams that they had about what was going to happen later on. And they are all connected. They all go back to Abraham. Abraham was the original. We go from Abraham, the lineage, and they all join up together. And these are all these tags that I did last time, which you've seen before. My notes, and basically that's what I'm doing, is I'm writing in here, and then I'm studying a bit more. I've seen most of this, haven't I? These here, before, when you saw them, I hadn't actually done anything on them. Here we've got a couple of copies of the 10 Commandments. I just think these are lovely. This is a copyright free, and this one came out of one of Zern's kits, the religious kits. And then we come up to my notes here, which I've scribbled all over, because there's one particular verse in week 2 that didn't make sense to me. I've asked a couple of other people, it didn't make sense to them either. It says, however, to the one who does not work, but trusts God, who justifies the ungodly, their faith is credited as righteousness. Now that totally and utterly has confused me. That is Romans 4:5. Do look it up and see what you think. I can understand that if somebody does something wrong, to justify it is wrong. I don't think it is right to justify it. So I've actually got notes down the side here, which I'll go into later. I will explain what I've come to the conclusion on this one, because it totally threw me out, that one did. And then this is the thing I was going to show you today. My pocket. These lovely, lovely cards are from Lydia, Rainbow Lila. That's our Lydia. And you can get them blank like this, or you can get them with Bible verses on. And I will show you the Bible verses next time, because obviously I don't want to make the video go too long. And I've actually put them on glossy. This is what I did right at the beginning, so it's glossy, so it means that everything will reflect off it. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And that's Philippians 4:6. And that is the point. With thanks. Give thanks to God. Thank him for everything he provides for you. And then petition him. And I think that is just so important. That's the one I did earlier. And then this one's talking about going to God with clean hands and a pure heart. And then I think everybody knows this. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. In other words, he is always there. He is always as he was, and he will never change, and he will always be there for us. Now, on that, how many names would you say God has? I know the Jewish call him Yahweh. The Jehovah's Witnesses call him Jehovah. There is the I am that I am. You know, it's basically, everybody has different names. In Islam, we have 99 names of God, 99 names of Allah. But they are attributes, okay? They are attributes of who he is. And I have them under here. Yeah, I do. They're just there underneath here. And I'm only going to read a couple because otherwise we'll be here until next Christmas. And I'm just going to read some of them. And you will understand as I go through that these are names that you already know. So we have the Creator, the Almighty, the Fashioner, the Provider, the Giver of Gifts. Just whatever my eyes go on, that's what you're getting. The Exalter, the Most Forbearing. Now that's an interesting one, isn't it? The Most Forbearing. The one who keeps bestowing blessings, both visible and hidden, on his creation, even though they disobey him and make many mistakes. Think about the Israelites. How many times did they let God down? They were a right lot, weren't they? You know, you think about Moses, he's up the mountain and he is getting the 10 Commandments, and they are worshipping this cow that they've made. You know, and they'd already lasted so many years in the wilderness. And God had provided manna for them so that they never went hungry. It was a miracle that every morning it was there for them. He provided for them. And he still forgave them. He still had that in his heart. He still forgave them. And that's what they say about God. No matter what, he will forgive you if you seek repentance in him. And I think that is just an incredible place to stop today. So this is where I'm at. It's been a right sort of week because I've had a lot of things to catch up on and do, and so many swaps that I needed to get done, and things behind the scenes on the groups and things like that. So I'm feeling quite chuffed I've actually got here today. So please do go and look at these gorgeous, gorgeous templates from Emma. She has another set as well. Well, she actually got two other sets. One is folios, which is what I want to do next of her things. And she's also got a huge tag set. And there are tags in every shape and size that you can imagine. It would be perfect for somebody who is new to journal making. It will be perfect for somebody who's been doing for many, many years, because when you've got that template, I mean, I have a few templates that I use all the time. When you've got a template, all you have to do is use that, and you know you're going to get a perfect tag. You know, if you're like me, I know the size of the tags I like. I know I like them 2.5 inches at the bottom. But they are great. So I'm going to link them below. So you're just going to have a look. I mean, obviously, sometimes these things are a think about purchase. So maybe you may want to put them into your basket and then think about purchasing them another time. But they are absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to leave it there today, guys. And have an amazingly blessed day today. And hopefully I will be a bit more organised tomorrow. Inshallah. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.